And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Okay, for the coastal water forecast here for the south coast, west to northwest winds at 15 knots, south to southeast or southwest to southeast 10 to 15 knots for the central coast. Inside waters, variable winds at 10 knots with seas 2 feet. And for the day Friday, south coast, southwesterlies at 15 knots, central coast, south to southeast 15 to 20 knots, east southeast at 20 knots for the north coast. And the inside waters, all southeast at 15 knots. Prince William Sound, east winds 15 knots, east northeast 20 to 25 knots for the North Gulf Coast. Kodiak Island is down there, but for Kamishak Bay, south winds at 20 knots, southeast 20 for the Barren Islands. Cook Inlet, south winds 25 knots. And for Friday, Cook Inlet, east winds 10 to 25 knots, and northwest at 30 for Prince William Sound, northwest 30 here for the western North Gulf Coast, and Kamishak Bay and the Barren Islands, west winds at 30 knots. Kodiak Island for tomorrow, southwesterlies at about 25 to 30. Alaska Peninsula, west-southwest 20 to 25, and southwest at 20 for Bristol Bay. For Friday, west-southwest winds 20 to 25 knots for the peninsula, and southwest at 20 for Bristol Bay. Kodiak Island, west winds 25 to 30 knots. Central Eastern Aleutians tomorrow, Adak all the way down to Alaska, southwest at 25 knots. Western Aleutians, not much different, southwest winds 25 to 30 knots. Then the storms come in on Friday from about Amchitka westward, looking at 45 to 60 knot winds, 35 knot winds for Adak and Atka, and south to southwest winds 25 to 30 for the Eastern Aleutians. For the southwest coast, southwest winds 25 to 30 knots, southwest 25 for St. Lawrence Island, St. Matthew, St. Paul, and St. George Islands, southwest winds 25 knots. And for Friday, St. Paul, southwest at 20, north 25 for St. Matthew Island, southwest coast, west winds 15 to 20 knots, and 15 knot winds for Norton Sound and St. Lawrence Island. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast tomorrow, southeast at 10, east 20 on the central coast, northeast 20 on the west side, and east-southeast winds at about 10 to 15 knots for the Chukchi Sea. And for Friday, north to northwest winds 20 to 30 knots for the Chukchi Sea, north at 15 for the western Arctic coast. And for the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coastline, winds will be light from the east at 5 to 10 knots.